Hello, and thanks for joining us on People, Politics, and Power on Africa Independent Television, AIT. I'm Okiria Agbonsu Remi. On this edition of the program, we want to rewind and revisit the issue which has generated flanks, discussions, and commentaries from amongst critical Nigerians. It is the fallout of the killings across the country for which herdsmen are blamed. Some unrepentant critics associate the killers with the Fulani as a tribe, even unverifiably so. As much as we condemn the killings in whatever form, we are not too comfortable, and I believe many Nigerians are not comfortable with some unguarded statements by government functionaries who should, for the sake of candor, human feelings, and sympathy or empathy, apply soothing balm. We have tried to analyze some of these statements and cannot in strict sense differentiate them from hate speech. This time at a high level. It's so because it is not healing the wounds. Rather, it is creating a gulf. We refer specifically to statements credited to the Inspector General of Police and the Minister of Defense at different occasions, both of who tried to rationalize or indeed trivialize the killings in Benue, for instance, and at best blaming them on domestic anti-grazing laws. The governor of Benue State, along with the people, took serious exception to the statements. The federal lawmakers went a step further to ask for the exit of the two personages from government. We tried to check up the true meaning of hate speech to see if it has any correlation with the statements complained of. The courts in Illinois, in the United States of America, for instance, described hate speech as a speech which attacks a person or group on the basis of attributes such as race, religion, ethnic origin. The court goes ahead to say any speech which incites violence or prejudicial action against a people is hate speech. The Illinois law, therefore, recommends speech codes, as in the instant case, for regulating discriminatory speech. In the United Kingdom, the Public Order Act prohibits expression of racial hatred designed to cause discomfort. And the Criminal Justice and Public Order Act 1994 prohibits anyone from causing alarm or distress. What in essence is unguarded statement designed to achieve other than a disaffection and by extension disorder? On the face value, are the statements not a product of misplaced discretion? The circumstances in which they are altered, can they in any way bring succor to the defendants of the people that were bestially killed, as in the case in Benue? Is it just a manner of speaking, a balloning, or in the realm of, are they in the realm of free speech, as some people want to put it? Or of the flip side, are those calling for their removal from office, like in those calling for it in the National Assembly, or the critics, can they be wrong? Now let's try and situate it in a democratic norm and national cohesion. We have invited some cerebral persons to interrogate this issue. And it is the guests that we think can help us rationalize, take a look at all this, analyze them, and see if we are not really traveling the wrong road, even in the manner in which government officials who should provide assistance in this area, provide a buffer between the crisis, or provide a link that will lead us to unity if they are not doing more damage than the good they are attempting to do. I have a former member of the House of Representatives, Honorable Solomon Edoja, and he is a political analyst. He is the one that has seen some measure of the crisis going by his age. He's a member of the APC, from Delta State. He's severally been commissioner in Delta State government in the past, although he has told me that there's a difference between commissioner and shomikona. Welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you for finding time to join us. Well-traveled, has been in business, and he's been a legislator, and he's been the executive at the state level. And we're having another guest joining us. As soon as he joins us, we'll also introduce that guest. But before we go into the discussion, let's see what happened on the floor of the House when the Senate committee investigating this recently headers farmers crisis in Benue State, the Senate rejected the committee's report and ordered the committee to invite Benue State Governor Autumn to have his own side. Let's get that filler from the National Assembly.
On the directive of the President, I moved to Benue State. I was in Benue State for about 8 days, and I moved around. I met many stakeholders in Benue and Nasarawa states, because these are the main epicenter of some of these crises. I was able to visit 2 local governments in Benue State, that is Guma and Logo. And I visited 1 local government in Nasarawa State, that's Tunga local government. No, that's Tunga. Tunga is in Awe. Tunga local government. I met with major stakeholders in Benue State during my visit, and I met with major stakeholders in Nasarawa State during my visit. And all these major stakeholders made some submissions during my visit.
At that meeting in Benue State, was meant to interact with the state government and other stakeholders with the view to find a lasting solution to the lingering crisis in the state. That on the strength of claims by Benue State Governor at the stakeholders meeting alleging that there exists armed militia camped in Tunga in our local government of Nasarawa State awaiting to unleash mayhem of Benue people, he further visited Nasarawa State for fact-finding and engaging with the stakeholders, where he found those claims were untrue.
This is not true. What he's saying is not true. They have amassed there. Every security agency has made comments on this. Huge numbers are there, and many of them are from outside the country, and they are armed with assault weaponry systems. It is unfair to this country for the IG to make this comment. Now, what the governor said is untrue. It's not, what he's saying is not true. What the governor said is true. And it is from there that they move. And we have seen video clips where they are moving to Benue and so on. Very well armed. So, Mr. President, so much has been made of 5 persons arrested with assault weapons AK-47. In Benue State, they said they are livestock guards. There are 5, and this has been the issue that has been repeatedly made media everywhere in Benue State. But we have thousands who are moving with AK-47 freely and have not been arrested. As we speak, people are still being killed in Benue State, in Nasarawa State, and in Taraba.
If in the circumstance they did not interview the governor and his name had been mentioned in respect of certain statements and actions, it's only fair to him, and then natural justice requires too that he should be invited by the committee and hear his own side of the story so that we have a balanced view of what transpired. That's just my only observation.
I think there's no doubt about it that it is incomplete because there are areas of the observation there about the comments of the governor. Governor of the Benue was not given an opportunity to comment. The only reason why I invited Lal Senator Akume to speak was I think that is the closest we could hear of the views of the governor of Benue, but even his own explanation does not explain that. let Senator Abu Ibrahim go back and complete his exercise and present a complete report, and at that time I'll accept contributions for everybody, and I think that's the way forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much for remaining with us. We stay inside the Nigerian, the situation where we discuss the Nigeria, having Nigeria on the table to discuss it. People, politics, and power is the name of the program, and we are taking a look at some of the very ugly sides of our national development. The government has also termed it hate speech, and unfortunately, those who are being accused directly of this hate speech are very senior government officials who many Nigerians believe are exercising their discretion in the negative. Our job here is not to trade blame. It is how to get out of this wrong road that we are going, how we can speak positively to the minds of Nigerians and emphasize that unity does not come without us deliberately creating it, so that all of us can be on the same path of the journey to developing a nation where everybody will be proud and happy, and we do not create a situation where hatred is the definition in our relationship. Solomon Edoja is a former member of the National Assembly, a former member of the House of Representatives, and we had also invited an analyst, Eche Asuzu, to join us, but we are expecting him. If he joins us, that will be wonderful. But Solomon Edoja is very, very capable of doing the analysis from the very side that Nigeria, because he has very passionate, has a lot of passion for Nigeria. Like I told you, he's a member of the APC from Delta State, and he believes that the APC is working very hard to create the enabling environment for Nigerians to work together. Welcome again to the program. Let me get your background to the situation. Let me get your general comment on what we have on ground in our hands, where the whole of the social media is turned into an avenue for sending speeches, messages that Nigerians don't even know the impact of what they are. How do you see the general trend and our attitude?
Thank you very much once again, viewers. I think it's very dangerous for us, the part we are presently trading on. If people understand what hate speech has caused in the past, they will not go this. I think 50% of the people who should know, because a child has, before the advent of democracy, a child that was born that time is now about 18 years, about to be able to vote. Those who didn't test what the military government did before they left and how they left, those set of persons which rightly belongs to the voting age now will not understand what we say, what is hate speech. I'm not here to define, because that's going to take a whole gamut of different people, different kind of explanation to what the term hate speech means. But we are Nigerians. We must begin to learn lessons from what has happened in the past.
Even borrow from other countries.
Even borrow from other countries. Hate speech led to the bombing of Nagasaki and Hiroshima by the United States government in 1945. Hate speech led to it because there was a threat from Japan which was not real. And he was misquoted and led to the two cities went down same day. Hate speech. Hate speech led us to the civil war we have fought. It was not as if the Yoruba man hate the Igbo man, the Igbo man hates the Hausa. It was not. It was hate speech. People threatened, people did all kinds of things. Before you know it, we have an aburi in our hand. When we could not define what manage our crisis ourselves, all our leaders were invited to Ghana. Small Ghana, that is not up to 1/3 of us, has to invite us, and we went. And on getting there, whatever that was agreed upon was reneged. But as soon as we get back to Nigeria, that was the beginning of our civil war. Having learned that, by now expect Nigerians that before we talk, we must think out of the box. A lot of people talk before they think. And now, you know, for me, in the last few weeks, few months, and few hours, it is an ugly trend that does not portend us well. I'm not here to defend anybody or defend a party or defend individuals. I'm not also here to inflame passion. on the system, because the system has given rise to a new set of people within us who are what we call the expert in the social media, who can turn a man to a woman and a woman to a man. And we now give them the space, because these people have not seen any war. They've not seen any, all the oddities that have ravaged this country, they have not known any of them. All they have been saying is that this social media can be used to manipulate people. For instance, a few days ago, I just saw on my WhatsApp that nobody should travel on Benin or a road. That
I also got that.
That there are armed robbers and the Fulani. They didn't even say highway robber this time. Highway robbers, as far as we know, dated back to the days of Oyenusi.
They have been blocking Nigerian roads.
They have been blocking Nigerian roads.
But suddenly it's only Fulani that block roads now.
Now, anything negative in this country today is Fulani herdsmen. When people are robbed now, it's Fulani herdsmen. When people are raped, it's Fulani herdsmen. It shouldn't be so. We have Igbos, we have Yorubas, we have Hausas, we have Urhobos. How can everything evil be Fulani herdsmen? That is not to say that we don't know what we are doing, that people are deliberately manipulating the system to favor them for either parochial interest or partisan interest. And what do? They manipulate us, and we seem to be flowing along because there is nothing engaging us as a people. In Rwanda, that just fought the war after we fought. In Rwanda today, if you go to Kigali, you do not ask anybody where he comes from. You only question you can ask, are you Rwanda? If the answer is yes,
finished.
If you want to know more, his contact address, not his local government area of origin,
or his tribe,
or his religion, you don't. It's an offense. And because of that, they have been able to manage themselves that the development there is astronomical. That is in Rwanda here. But here, the cacophony that we are building up from the political terrain, must life revolve around politics only? Do we not have something to do? Must everybody be involved in partisan politics? So these are the reasons that anytime we speak, we must be able to moderate our language.
Now, we don't really have something else to do. Many people are asking, are we not taking advantage of the internet? Are we not taking advantage of the social media positively? If you, Honorable, if you pick up, if you go to the internet and you want to buy a ticket from many of the airlines and you choose to call their number, you know where they will answer you?
Yeah.
India,
yes.
Israel, Egypt, or Pakistan. That's where their call centers are
based.
Airlines, international businesses are giving these out to people who are ready to do business. You don't have call centers in Nigeria. The internet we are using, some people say just for the negative. But we will get our guests in. But as we get our guests in, let me introduce the next video on this subject. In May 2017, the National Broadcasting Commission, the regulatory body for broadcasting in Nigeria, NBC, put together a summit to discuss ways to control hate speeches, especially with media professionals. And the Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, organized the organizers of the summit and the participants spoke on the dangers of hate speech. Let's take that as we get our guests into the studio.
The third annual lecture of the National Broadcasting Commission provided a veritable platform for practitioners and other stakeholders in the broadcast industry to meet minds and proffer solutions on ways to improve the industry. This gathering also examined ways to improve broadcast contents and play down on hate speech.
The NBC must not shy away from sanctioning, those, who are purveyors of hate speeches. Two, we're also, calling on Nigerians that it's not just a problem of NBC. In other parts of the country, of the world, you do not, undiluted, unleash on the audience, phoning, questions or commentary.
And then we want to work with the National Assembly on legislation also against hate speech. So we take it very seriously.
The forum also wants owners of broadcast stations to use the platform to promote positive development in Nigeria by celebrating development-oriented projects in the country.
Religious leaders at all levels must never use platforms to insult, to criminalize people, to make hate speeches.
We cannot be purveyors of hate speech. If we know the impact of such things, on society, we should not in any way be involved in it at all. Because we are supposed to be gatekeepers.
They also suggested internal censorship of broadcast materials, especially live coverages, before they are broadcasted.
The law, the institutions must work. Institutional decay is our problem. Negligence seems to be everywhere.
The theme for this year's lecture is on cosmopolitanism, Nigeria's ethnic politics and the communication of hate.
The Nigeria of our dream, the Nigeria we need, is the united, indissoluble and cohesive Nigeria which guarantees equity, fairness, justice and prosperity for its citizens. That is our focus on people, politics and power. It is fresh, insightful, impactful. It's a must-watch. People, politics and power on AIT. Join us to build bridges of unity.
Bridges of unity, that is the focal point of people, politics and power, having Nigeria on the table and treating it in such a way that we can build these bridges and create unity, peace for everyone. Thanks for remaining with us on the program and on AIT. I told you I had two guests invited to the studio. I've been with Honorable Solomon Edoja, who is a former member of the National Assembly. But as I speak, and during that break, we had the second guest come in. He's a political analyst, Eche Asuzu. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
The program. I hope you're good.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, before you came in, we were laying the foundation, and Honorable Solomon Edoja was telling us about the dangers. And the Nigerians are like holding a very sharp knife on the sharp end of the knife, and there's no how you are going to manipulate it if you will not lose your blood on it, have your fingers out. What are your general thoughts on what is going on in Nigeria with regard to how we talk to ourselves, even in an attempt to solve the problems we have?
Well, for me, I think the problem of hate speech has become a major problem for our country. I think the environment, the polity is so heated to levels that one can describe as unprecedented. Increasingly, Nigerians are becoming more agitated over a whole number of issues, and it's manifesting in both guarded and unguarded comments, especially the unguarded ones. I think it's important that we also look at what are the issues, what are the reasons why Nigerians are also beginning to have gotten to this level, because increasingly we have seen a deterioration of this very menace. The fact of the matter is that we need to interrogate the civic engagement space. How far have we engaged with Nigerians? In what ways have we really engaged with Nigerians? In what ways have we opened up the democratic space in such a way that every Nigerian feels a sense of belonging and knows that that he is able to utilize lawful ways to ventilate his anger or his concerns within the polity? Has the polity been liberal enough? Has it been accommodating enough to be able to allow people to actually air their opinion and be able to actually engage with the process? Yeah. Now, if people feel that they are not given the opportunity to be able to air their opinion, you see the likelihood is for them to retrace into very unlawful means or unguarded means to be able to air. Is part of human frustration. So are we sure that what is going on is not out of frustration? Are we sure what is going on is not out of emasculation of the political space and channels for people to actually engage? These are the questions that come to mind. But then I also believe that hate speech does no society any good. It doesn't do anybody any good.
Now we're going to be taking it from maybe two straight angles. Like you saw in the last package that we brought out, the National Broadcasting Commission, as a responsible organization, has been doing a lot of mobilization amongst practitioners in the broadcast arena to edit, to remove, to control, and as it were, move away from the part of rebroadcasting some of these things that are going on in social media, and also be very careful so that we do not add more problem to the problem that already exists. But aside from that, there's the totally uncontrolled space of the social media.
Yeah, that's the issue.
WhatsApp, the Facebook. I am told that Facebook as an organization battles hard to delete and remove some of the pictures that come from Nigeria. We share dead bodies, blood flowing, as if it is like people are eating and they are saying, oh, 20 people died. They are sharing this, and it's as if it's becoming normal. Now, on the official side, on the normal side of the media, the broadcasts that are controlled, there's a limit to which people can abuse it and actually have regulations. But what do we do with the social media?
I think the social media has its pros and cons. The pros being that it has become a medium where people can actually easily connect to one another and share. It's part of the civic engagement. It has made civic engagement a lot easier. But there are also the negative sides, where you find people indulge in very unseeming and very sometimes I call them atrocious behaviors. Some people share pictures that actually in the past, maybe something that happened in Nigeria, but in the past, and they situate it in the present.
Well, that's
just
what
just to fan the embers of division,
of
hate, embers of of prejudice. And sometimes they even get pictures that are actually outside this outside the country and juxtapose them as if they happen here, just to fan sentiments. And then what do you achieve with that? So I think it's good that there is some kind of intervention, in what goes on in the social media, but not in a manner that jeopardizes the fundamental
the advantages of the media. How do we get to tell Nigerians that you can't just so feel comfortable telling lies and promoting lies? I imagine how many people saw that picture. I think it was an accident. It was an accident that happened in 2010 where there was an armed robbery going on, and the vehicle ran into the passengers, and they were lying down. And yesterday it was promoted as an event that just happened yesterday.
I think that those of us in leadership position owe Nigerians a lot of education. We are not doing enough. And so the lacuna that exists is what people, idle minds, are filling up for us. And it's becoming, they started it by way of blackmail. They will blackmail you or blackmail me, and then the public now see from that perspective. Haven't gotten to some level, they now go to the extent of they themselves conjuring stories and perfecting it as if that is the real situation. So what then happened at the various segments? At the local government level, you have councillors. Yes. And we have local government chairmen. At the state level, we have the governor, we have the state houses of assembly. At the national level, we have the president, we have a member of the National Assembly, the Senate House of Reps. It means there is not enough of public enlightenment from us. Because if everybody, the councillors, and everybody goes back home and say, look, this is what is happening, and this is what is not happening, people will be contended a little bit. Now, when there is no information flow, then and I don't mind, they say it's the devil's workshop. Hate speech is a product of lack of ventilation. Hate speech is a product of anger. Hate speech is a product of frustration. And hate speech is like somebody carrying a load. When you are angry, you are carrying a load. If I'm angry against my neighbor, against the Fulani, wherever, I'm carrying a load. Until I empty that load, you will be heavy. You will be heavy. And in the divine world, when you are carrying such load, you cannot be blessed because you're already carrying a load. There is no space to drop anything for you anymore. So now, what goes on now is that most people are carrying baggages, loads of hatred against one another, in particular against people in government. I traveled on the road a day, I can't remember, this year, and a police officer on the road told me that When I say, he said, who are you? I say, honorable. Say, look, if I have my way, I will kill all the honorable in this country on the road.
And you want to wonder what...
And the time was about 1 o'clock. I just imagine if it was in the midnight. What would have happened to me? And we were in a convoy, my friends were behind. My friend and everybody held him.
You need to drop this your honorable tattoo.
I just, in fact, on the road now, I don't see me answering honorable anymore. When I leave this studio now, I become normal person. Solomon Doja is my name. In fact, I thought twice, I asked myself, a policeman on the road this afternoon? I didn't say a word. My friend that was sitting with me was trying to say, do you know that this is my... I said, please, 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 we are not in position to do anything now. These people are angry. And there's something that is frustrating them, which they want to vent on honorables. So that is hate speech. Or you go like some people say they are going to condole with people who lost people, and getting there, you start reminding them, these people committed no offense, these people, you are inflaming passion. That is hate speech. We should not use any platform, any opportunity we have to inflame passion. We should use every opportunity we have to douse tension. The tension in this country is getting too much. Every person in leadership position must weigh a word before he says it. Because a word, for instance, we talk about ranches. Somebody introduced colony. Look at where we are today.
The whole thing is...
the whole thing has caught fire. But if we had continued on the path of ranches...
and begin to define it.
Begin to say, no, it is already defined. Everybody, when you say ranches, everybody might go to Budukatu Ranch and so on and so forth. We already know what a ranch is. If you say you want to build big, massive ranches, we are still talking about ranches. But once you go to colony...
it gets a different definition.
It immediately has a different connotation, and that is a hate speech on its own. You have to come and say a word that will not be subject to individual interpretation, because you cannot be everywhere to explain what you mean. You mean well for the country, what you want to do is good for the country, but say it even if you have colony in your mind, tell us it is ranches. People, you carry people along. And then when they get to some point, when you are even calling it a colony of animals, a colony of the people will no longer mind. But when passions are high, tensions are high, now
you need to be careful.
You need to be careful of our utterances, and we need to be guided by the laws of this country. We have laws in place, and these laws should be obeyed. Not in the mischief way we try to operate our laws.
Now, if you take a look at the angles we have taken now, we have taken a look at the conventional media. We say we don't have much of a problem because we have regulation.
You have offices.
We have people.
Offices.
They can even come.
Yes, you can be summoned.
Yeah, can ask.
How do you summon for WhatsApp? The one that came to my phone yesterday.
We have also talked about the one that is really, really dangerous. The National Assembly had attempted at some point to say, do we have laws to regulate the social media? How do? And there were a lot of protests that you cannot regulate the social media. But some societies have put, like you said, some minimal regulation that will not remove the meat of. Now, if we take it to the third realm, which is where I want to ask you, Mr. Asuzu, is where government officials themselves, like the Inspector General of Police, like the Defense Minister, also are not like what Honorable Edoja said, choosing their words in the way they respond. There's a law that was made, and somebody says that law is the one causing the problem. Somebody who is supposed to help implement and enforce the law says it is the cause of the problem. No court of law has set it aside. And then you see the Inspector General of Police, through the representative, making also statements that a sitting governor is I don't know, I don't want to repeat what he has said so that I don't begin to have to echo it.
Or create more hate out of the hate speech we are talking about.
Our officials, our government officials, are they aware of what the level of our own understanding of this problem? Some government officials.
Well, I think it is quite unfortunate we are actually having this kind of scenario play out in our country, especially at this time, given our history as a country. It's quite unfortunate that we don't really seem to place a lot of confidence in our institutions. I expected that if you have any problem with any law that has been set up by an established arm of government, what you should do is to take up lawful means of advocating for either a change or a modification of such laws. You cannot resort to self-help. So what I see as part of the things that are fueling this trajectory of hate speeches is actually a resort to self-help. The citizens are resorting to self-help, and it appears they are also looking at the government officials who, ab initio, have actually set a precedent of resorting to self-help. Otherwise, government officials cannot come out and condemn a law that is in place. But then also, there is also a laxity also on the other part of government. If you have set up a law and somebody impugns on that law and desecrates that law and makes lightweight of the laws, which is actually the grand norm of social organization. Without a law, we cannot have law and order. It's an open invitation to anarchy. And somebody comes and makes a lightweight of it. It's also your duty to also go to court. To go to court. So that people can begin to take our institutions seriously. We do not take our institutions seriously. And it's actually as a result of our inability to actually put into priority our institutions that has also forced citizens to resort to self-help. If citizens are seeing government resorting to self-help, what do you expect from them? Government should set the example by making sure that our laws are not just obeyed, but they should be seen as sacrosanct.
And should be enforced.
And should be enforced.
I think as a rider to it, I can also say this. This text message that I got, millions of Nigerians got them.
Yes, millions.
Including
within a space of 1 hour.
Yes, yes. And even our security agency, I'm sure they also got it. What do? They look the other way. Because somebody sent that in to them. And somebody sent it to that person. If the people who sent it, if one person has been apprehended, or 2 persons or 3 persons.
But is there any law in Nigeria?
There's a law.
Do we have a regulation, any law that says when I get a text message of blood letters and I cannot forward to you on my WhatsApp to say this is what I have just gotten? Because it was warning. You know why it flew very high yesterday? Don't pass through that road. There's danger in it. So anybody that has anybody around that Benin Aziz, Lagos, Benin, they were quickly passing the message.
Sorry, sir, you were even talking of the pictures. I also have a recording. I was sent a recording.
There were recording.
Voice recording of people who were actually supposedly
screaming.
Victims of that,
I have the audio even on my phone. Both sides.
So it shows you things are really going out of scope.
The government must come in. First of all, the public enlightenment that I advocate, which should be by the councillor, the House of Assembly, and all. You see, the duty of as a representative is to find out what are the complaints of my people and delve into them. The one you can resolve them. The one you cannot resolve, then you transfer them to those in authority who can help resolve them. That is the meaning of representation. Now, there is a laxity here. And the people, you unlike before, and I keep saying this, before, during our time, and you could be hearing the good old days, because the good old days, you finish from school, you have about 2 or 3 choices. Yes. Either to go and teach, or to go to the civil service, or go and search for oil companies to work. That is no more available. Because some group of young men came from Harvard and said, look, told the military government that the only thing you can do in this country is to sell up everything that you have, not to build new ones, and that the private sector will drive the process. Now, the money is in the hands of the private sector. Those days, you don't have the richest men in Africa, you don't have them. All our money are now in their hands. Now, the government owe a duty. The duty of government, like I say, is not to build roads and bridges. It is security and welfare of the citizen. So if you know that is your, except you have to change the constitution, that the duty of the private sector is to provide security or provide job and welfare before transferring all our common patrimony to them. Because this is the beginning of all this hate speech. If you are working in a company, for instance, will you have time to be manipulating? These are idle minds. You have thousands of people graduating every day. We are sitting on a keg of gunpowder. If we don't manage this hate speech very well, it's going to consume all of us. And we don't have a place to go. For regrettably, all our neighbors are envious of us, which are also a product of hate speech we must watch out for. If anything goes wrong in Nigeria today, all these neighbors will shut their borders. That is very sure, because everywhere we go, we will overrun them. So which shows we have a country that we owe a duty. We don't have anywhere to go. It is when it dawned on us that we don't have anywhere to go that we begin to manage the way we talk, the way we act. The agency of government, if you hear that somebody did this and did this and did, you forget some. I'll give you an example. If you travel to Dubai today, it is a policy in Dubai that you can only WhatsApp. You can't talk with their WhatsApp. They shut it down so that those who are engaged in communication,
they can
so that they can make money from it. Because if WhatsApp that is free, you can use it to talk and to chat.
You will not use your phone.
Then you will not use their phone. So if you travel to Dubai, you can only use the WhatsApp to chat. You cannot use it for audio. So it's a policy that is tailored to give them money. Now, what are we putting in place here to prevent the abuse of the social media? Nothing. Everybody is just looking helpless. And there are people in authority. There are people who are engaged in the process, who should engage the process and say, okay, as it is now, this is what we can do to engage the youth.
What happens when those who should lead the way are actually even still found guilty? Like the National Assembly has said, the IG should be sacked. That he should be relieved of his job because he's not professionally running the office because of his utterances. We are talking about his speech.
Well, for the National Assembly, the facts before them, I don't have it. Maybe there is what we call agent provocator. There could be series of things they have as sitting members of the House. They could have series of information that are available to their security committee, which they have made available to them at the public, the executive section. Mark you, the executive section is that is not visible to the public is the engine room that drives the National Assembly. So even before you move motions and all the things you see on camera, it has been discussed extensively in the engine room. So, and it is there the facts will be brought to the table. It is there all the evidence and all the alibi will be brought to the table. And it is after that somebody will go to the floor
to raise it.
Yeah. So to sit and comment on what they say without knowing exactly the detail will not be fair to them on the part of the National Assembly. And but for the IG, whatever he says is he is the one who should be interviewed, who should give us the reason why he said it was a communal clash, which we were told he has apologized. He is the one who should be here to answer, because you see, this hate speech today, what you say that may anger you and may make me look like it's a hate speech, it might be something that might interest you. And so we must be careful when trying to find a solution, not to inflame passion. So in order to be seen that we are truly, we believe in this country and we don't have another country, and we want this country to supersede any other country.
I have done a study on Rwanda, and it's marvelous.
It is tremendous.
The kind of regulations they have now put in place. The High Commissioner of Rwanda to Nigeria, I've had a one-on-one with him. He helps us to clean the stadium one of the weekends in a month. The tennis courts, he has a band of people we play, and I accosted him and I spoke with him, and the trauma, the kind of problems Rwanda had, it only takes, because of our own spiritual dimension in Nigeria, it takes God for a country to come out of it.
Absolutely.
So maybe Nigerians need to understand that when you send these speeches out and you are telling everybody that anything that is wrong in Nigeria is Fulani, so anybody who speaks Hausa is your enemy. No. Or if you go to the Niger Delta and see all those people, they don't want progress, or anybody that has this color is the other one. That what we are invariably doing, we are on the highway to Rwanda.
Yes,
absolutely.
And I don't know how we can really get the relevant agencies to let Nigerians know the danger of these things we are doing.
I think, for me, I believe that sometimes it's better to learn from other people's experiences
and mistakes.
Than for you to experience such.
Yes.
You know, I think there are a whole lot of lessons from the Rwandan experience for Nigeria to glean from. One is the lesson in good governance.
Yes.
After the genocide in Rwanda, the government that came to power understood that the reason why people are able to invest their time in things that cause for social disaffection is simply because they are not productive.
They are idle.
They are idle.
Idle, yes.
And what did they do? They began to open up the economy. They began to put in practices that would engender productivity in such a manner that in Rwanda it has one of the highest GDP in Africa right now, and the economy is doing well. So when you have a productive economy, why would people involve themselves in oddities, things that will actually bring the society down? The reason being that they have something to protect. If you have a factory where you are working, you have a means of livelihood, you have something to protect. That is what it means to be a stakeholder in any organized society or in a community. So when there is productivity, the level of stakeholdership increases, and therefore the chances of society melting down in this kind of cauldron like we are experiencing right now in Nigeria is severely diminished. So government should be engaged in deploying the instrument of good governance. Nigerians should get back to work. A situation where our factories are being turned to churches and mosques is not palatable for sustainable development.
Assembly town hall meetings.
So we need to do something about productivity. How do we get Nigerians back to work? How do we get Nigerians to become increasingly see themselves as stakeholders in the polity? That they are not just bystanders. When people are bystanders, it leads to frustration. Because they look at you and they say, why can't I be involved? Why can't I be given an opportunity to be involved? Why can't I be engaged? And these questions go on and on in their minds. And if they don't see any solution, they resort to self-help. So government should lead the way by ensuring good governance. And then also in Rwanda, we saw inclusivity. They were able to include both the female and the male gender. In their parliament, it's almost 50-50. Or even more females than even the males.
And women are known as peacemakers.
Absolutely.
except in Nigeria, where they cut more money and refund more money. So you can see that in Nigeria, because there is no role model. What is happening in Rwanda is because there is a role model.
Yeah.
Somebody is at
Kigami is telling everybody.
Yeah, that is the way to go. And you can see transparency in him. You can see that the man is totally a Rwandan and he owes nothing to anybody. And so Nigeria, our foreign policy should change. We should begin to look inward so that everybody will become an ambassador of Nigeria. Wherever we find ourselves. Because right now when you leave Nigeria and you see there's a case in place is when over 1 million Nigerians want to trek from here to Spain by foot.
By road,
yeah.
Or they want to go by foot.
Or by foot. They start by foot and so on and so forth. And they tell you their gory story. That again tells us that something is wrong here. Because something, if most things are right here,
I don't know if you watch. I don't know if you watch. They will not have. I don't know if you watch the interview of one of them from Edo State, who was rescued and he came back and they asked him. He said he regrets coming back. He would have rather he die there than come back. The other one was interviewed in. I saw it in the social media. He actually got to Spain. They claim refugees and they asked that they are going to tell me, but he climbed. In fact, he threatened that he would climb to the top and commit suicide if they do not, if they threaten to bring him back to Nigeria.
So it shows that it shows that there is a huge gap that the leadership need to fill, and one of the gap is to start thinking about how to deliberately create jobs,
create hope, create
job. Because, okay, let me tell you, in 1963. Midwest was created out of plebiscite. That is the only
where you had a referendum.
And a region was created in 1963. When we were living in Ibadan, not one table followed us. The people were so hostile; they didn't want us to go. The
Western Nigeria.
The Western Nigeria, but they were overwhelmed by the other parts of the country who said these people, they voted and we had majority, and we couldn't go with a table. And not to talk of sharing assets with them. And so our people didn't start singing the books of lamentation. They came back and said, look, let's stay on the drawing board. What do we do? All of us cannot work in the same service. Let's create hope for our people. They set up 3 industries same year. Bendel's Glass in Ugele, Asaba Textile Mill, and Okwila Cement Factory to cater for the north. So now when people finish at those years, they now have places if every government that have been coming in place have been
creating
jobs and creating hope and you know the multiplier effect of employing one man in a family, cater for the wife and all the children and the sibling and the younger one. So we deliberately, I don't know what madness went into our head, sold everything, and they are even still threatening to sell more. What is just left in government today, as a government house today, is the Aso Villa. All other institutions of government has been sold to private people. And you know a private mine is driven by profit. It's not driven by security, the provision of security.
So you are talking about the need to get to people to be engaged.
Yeah.
So that they can.
So that that is the only way to disabuse their mind from this hate speech. Because they are enjoying this game, this drama. Because they
don't know the implications.
They also know, but they also know that
they have no other alternative. Yeah.
They are also aware that how many people are you going to arrest? How many people? Because if the IGs wake up today say, who forwarded that message? You are going to arrest
the whole of Nigeria.
You will arrest the whole of Nigeria.
Absolutely.
So, and that is why they also make because the number is large. They also overwhelm.
They hide in the comfort of the numbers.
They overwhelm any system that want to checkmate them. And you can see, if you see, I watched one thing, they wrote vacancy yesterday, say, vacancy, Nigerian police trying to recruit something, and behind they say, please do not pay any money to anybody. In an advertorial I saw yesterday, do not pay money to anybody. In fact, that on its own is an
says a lot.
It says a lot.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people now
they are trying to
they turn it the other way and say, look, if you don't pay, you won't get to. So these are the things that we need to do to manage what we say.
Okay, we must be wrapping up now because our time is good. But we have to also wrap it up with some ideas and suggestions on how we can really move out from this. Of course, you have already put them in your items as we are discussing. Mr. Suzu, the position we are now is agreeable. It's not good. How can we speedily move away from this place?
I think primarily what we need to do, like Honorable said, is that we need to have a visionary leadership at every level in this country. It's very important. We need to have a leadership that dreams, that rests on higher ideas.
Is that an indication because I have to quickly put it to you, is it an indication that what we currently have now is not visionary enough? Because we have to put it in a capsule. That means that we are not doing it with speed. I am looking at the suggestion that President Muhammadu Buhari and his team, within the next 1 or 2 years of the mandate they still have with us, can do something. If we are talking about visionary leadership, and people are already saying that these people cannot do it, are we going to wait for the next 1 year?
Maybe I'll put back the question back to you. I'll push it back to you. Because the president, you have the opportunity of interviewing several Nigerians. Within that context, you can actually find answers to your question. But definitely what we cannot joke with is the fact that we need a leadership that defines the higher ideals that should drive us as a country.
Let me hear.
I think finally, for me, I think the leadership we have is visionary. The only lacuna that they are filling up is that we need to communicate more at every level of leadership. We need to communicate more, not just by body language this time, but we must communicate to the people.
The president must be talking to Nigerians.
Yes, we must engage the people more than what we are doing now. If we do that, a lot of persons will give us better ideas than we think we have.
All right.
As leaders.
It's people, politics, and power, and how we wrap it up. Today is just what you have seen. We're wrapping it up, and I've had 2 gentlemen in the studio, people who believe passionately in Nigeria, who also agree that things are wrong and that they can be done right, and that we can begin to change the tide and move away from this speed. The road to Rwanda, as some people will want to put it, that the way we are going, we must be careful what we send, the speeches we make, at both personal, individual, and at official level. Solomon Edoja, a former member of the House of Representatives, I can still choose to call him Honorable Solomon Edoja. He's not on the road.
When I get to the road, I'll met a way.
And the political analyst, Eche Asuzu, joining me on the program. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And that's how we're wrapping it up. When we come back in another 24 hours, we'll have another issue. And Nigeria is always in focus on people, politics, and power. My name is Okiri Agbosu. Very many thanks for staying with us.